Alrighty, g'day everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a build for set 7 that is made for beginner players. So I've planned this out with new players in mind. It's a build that you can do every single game. It doesn't really require augments. And I think it's just a good approach to play something simple and consistent like this when you're starting out, to try and gradually learn some of the mechanics rather than jumping into the deep end and trying to play flexibly or play a top meta build from day one. I think the better approach is to start with something simple like this, iterate on it, just play it repeatedly, and then you'll gradually pick elements up at a more fun pace, I think, rather than trying to overwhelm yourself. So this build is built around Vladimir, who is a 1-cost astral unit, and then we're going to be re-rolling for Vladimir 3 using some other astral units and using some pretty basic and consistent items. So the game plan for this build is going to be to go to level 5, having 50 gold. So we're making the maximum possible interest, and then we're just re-rolling until we hit Vladimir 3, and then we're going to level up. So we're looking at what the board will be like for level 5, but two of these units won't be here. So the optimal board would be to have Vladimir, Silas, Alawi, Nami, and Nidalee. Well, Nidalee and Skarner are interchangeable. However, we're not always going to have Silas at level 5, because Silas would turn on 2 bruisers and 3 mages if we just had Silas, Vlad, Alawi, Nami, Nidalee, like the best possible board. But if we don't have Silas, we can either play Rise to give us 3 mages if we have him, or we can play just Skarner as well to have 2 bruisers until we hit a Silas. So as soon as you hit a Silas, you're going to put that into your 5 to have 3 Astrals, 2 bruisers, 3 mages. And we'll have all of those traits turned on. So while we have 3 Astrals on, we have better chances at hitting Astrals in shops. We're going to roll level 5 shops until we get the Vladimir 3 stars, and then we'll level up. So we're looking at, this is the level 5 board. So I've got Vladimir with probably his best possible items, but the second 2 items are quite flexible. The item you really want is Archangel Staff, which is Rod and Tier, and we want to try and get one of these items on the first carousel where it's possible. That is definitely the best Vladimir item, and if you build 2 of those on Vladimir, that's perfectly fine. They scale with each other nicely. Then the other 2 items, we're looking at tanky kind of bruiser sort of items. So Titan's Resolve is very good for this, for giving like the most armor and MR when it's stacked up, and Vladimir can stack it easily because he heals himself, so he stays around. We can also build Ionic Spark, which is a bit of damage from the rod, it's a bit of tankiness from the cape, and if Vladimir is targeting something within his auto attack range, he'll be applying the debuff, so he'll deal more damage. But then these items I've put on Alawi and Silas are all perfectly good too. So you can just build generic tanky items. Any of these are fine to fill out the last 2 slots on Vladimir if you don't have perfect item. And some of the other items we've got, Nami can take a Shojin if we've got an extra tier and a sword. Vladimir doesn't really want a sword, so any extra swords we can go into making Shojins, and those go nicely on Nami. Can also go on Silas or Alawi if we happen to get lots of those, but Nami's probably the best holder for that. And then the other item would be a static Shiv, because Vladimir doesn't want more than 1 bow. He can use 1 for Titans. You don't want 2 Titans though. So any other bows can be made into Shivs, or other swords can be made into Shojins. Those are looking at the best other kind of filler items, because more Nami casts, just she's healing the team as a little of damage, and then Shiv, it's reducing MR. We're going to be dealing mostly magic damage, so pretty consistent there. So once we hit Vladimir 3, we want to stay at level 5. We're not going to worry about buying experience until we get that Vladimir 3. So we're going to be rolling, but keeping 50 gold and doing what's slow rolling. So it's refreshing the shop as long as we have more than 50 gold, and then getting all the Vladimirs and all the other Astrals that we can. And once we have Vladimir 3-star, we can level up. So we'll go to level 7. So don't worry about these to start with. These are like the extra ones we can chuck in as we get to level 8. A level 7 board is going to be these 7, pretty much always. That'll get us 6 Astral. Will be 6 Astral, will be 3 Bruiser, which is a little awkward, but that's the less perfect synergy. And we'll still have 3 Mages on. So at that point we want to level up Silas, level up Alawi, level up Nami, and we can put Varys in. For items here, like Static Shiv can go nicely on Nidalee. That can also go on Varus. Anyone who's auto-attacking quickly is fine. If you've got a lot of Nidalees, which you might when you're rolling for Vlad, she holds Shiv very well. Varus can hold just utility items, like Banshee's Claw, Chalice, or Zeke's. He can also hold Shiv. If you end up getting some more damage items, he can hold those too, like a Giant Slayer or something if you get that in the later game. And then Alawi and Silas can hold more tanky items as well. Redemption is a great item that you can put on one of those because these three will generally be standing together. So you can get good redemption value. Basically, we're just adding in some extra units, some extra synergies, but the focus of this build is just around getting to Vladimir 3 stars at level 5. These are some of the later units that we can throw in. Zoe can be nice. Potentially replace one of our other mages, or we could go to 5 mages. We could put in maybe Zoe and a Rise at some point. And we don't need to keep 6 Astral, so we could drop back to 3 Astral or 4 Astral and then play some extra mages. We can play Siphon. He's quite good because he gets us 4 Bruiser and 4 Whispers. Especially good if we've got a lot of Silas. If we're getting to extended, like advanced playing this build, you could potentially sell Vladimir and put some of his items on Siphon and some of them on Silas. But we don't need to worry about that as we're just starting out with the build, but there is some potential for expanding this playstyle. Ultimately, though, I would suggest trying to move on eventually to more meta kind of playstyles, but this is just a really good starting point as you're getting used to TFT, basically, and learning more of the mechanics. Bard is always good to throw in. Bard just has really good CC. He adds a Mystic, and then he has his mechanic to increase our shop odds. We can get more late units. And then, of course, we can always throw in Aurelion Sol. He's the last Astral. He would get us to 9 Astrals if we were still playing all of the rest. He's not that strong unless you get a Mage Spatula. But if you do get the Mage Spatula, you can throw that on Aurelion and then maybe give him some items from Nami or Vladimir potentially, and he becomes incredibly strong. So that is another potential endgame result. We find an Aurelion Sol when we're level 8. We chuck him in with the 6 Astrals and we give him a Mage Hat. But that Mage Spatula really makes all of the difference. So that comes off any tier and a Spatula. We'll make a Mage Hat, and that can make Aurelion Sol great. Otherwise, the 9 Astral buff without Mage Aurelion Sol is not that exciting. But these are all kind of endgame ideas for things we can add in. But at level 7, which is often where we'll finish up the game, these are definitely the 7 units. There's not much reason that you would swap any of these out. You could potentially swap Skarner if you had a really good other bruiser, like maybe an Ornn. But that does drop you to 5 Astral. Now, anyway, so that's the basic outline of the build. We've got the level 5, where we're focused on Vlad, we're focused on getting him an Archangels, and then any 2 other items from the selection. Although these are probably 2 of the better ones. And we'll be playing 3 Astrals, 3 or 4 Astrals, and we'll be playing Silas to give us the Mage and the Bruiser buff. And then we can run Rise or Skarner as needed before we get a Silas. So that's all for breaking down the build. Now let's go and look at some gameplay. Alrighty, so let's get into some gameplay. So this was from the PBE, so there will be some balance changes since now, but it's not so important. This isn't a meta-related build. This is just a basic outline of a learning the game build. So it won't matter what patch we're on or the balance tweaks that might get made. We're playing this build to learn how to play the game, and because it's a straightforward strategy that we can iterate and repeat. So I've taken a tier from the first carousel. Tier or Rod are both really solid. So we've got a Sword, which is not super great, but we're still going to be able to repeat the strategy. We've got an early Varus, which is interesting. Does mean we can turn on Astral sooner, so we'll turn on Astral straight away with this. Actually, when we get to level 3, rather. We'll have the Astral components here ready. We can sell Tahm Kench and put his tier on Vladimir, because we know Vladimir definitely wants 1 tier item. We'll buy Heimerdinger just to be an extra mage, so he can fill potentially that level 5 third mage role that like Rise is better, but it's whichever mage we get until we find Silas, because he's the mage bruiser. Nothing here in this shop, however, we'll turn on the Astral trait, so we can start stacking Astrals now. We've got 3 Astrals, so now for the 5th shop we see from now will be an Astral shop, and we'll have better chances of hitting more Vladimirs as well as the rest of the Astrals. So Varus is fine to put in earlier if we do happen to hit him, but he's not an integral part of especially the level 5 plan. He's not as important. And when we get to level 7, he becomes pretty useful. but more for his crowd control of his spell than for his raw damage. Although it's definitely another valid way of playing is focusing on carry Varus and putting, you know, attack damage items onto him. And if you find you really like Astrals and you want to go forward playing more Astrals, then that's definitely one of the more viable comps to play Astrals in at the moment. As I've said, this is learning the game. We're doing a repeatable, simple build where we roll at level 5. So we're going to put the sword on Varus now, just because Vladimir definitely doesn't want a sword. And he's already here, and he's perfectly fine. You can put swords on him, you can put Shojin on him in this build, because then he can cast his spell more frequently and get more crowd control. So we're happy with our shop here. We've got 6 gold. Ideally we'd have 10 gold here, but that's just random based on what the creeps give you. And we're not going to spend any gold, because we're trying to get to 50 as soon as possible. So these early rounds are probably not going to go great. Depending on what kind of rank that you're playing at, it might go better or worse. But against stronger players, our board is not going to be very good on stage 2. But the focus is on getting some items onto Vlad and getting at least Vlad 2-star, so that on stage 3 we can start win streaking, hopefully. While also keeping our 50 gold and continuing to roll for more Astrals. But taking a 4-unit loss there, it's going to happen. He was level 4, had some decent stuff going. Alright, so we've reached 10 gold, which is important. Each 10 gold is an extra gold of interest. So we'll definitely want to finish this round at level 10. At 10 gold. And so if necessary, we'll sell a Heimerdinger if we lose the round. If we win the round, we'll make a free gold, and we'll have 10. But if we lose, we'll sell Heimerdinger to get to 10. So having 10 gold at 2-2 is good. If we got augments or particularly lucky with creeps, we could have 20 conceivably, but 10 is good. I think you want about 10 by 2-3, I would say, if possible. But if it's not possible, then 2-4 is okay. You absolutely need to have 10 gold at least by this round, though, to start getting your interest stacking. So we lose again. Unfortunately, it's another 4-unit loss, which can happen. If we were able to complete an item, or if we just happen to get a few more Vladimirs, this might be going a little differently, but yeah, that's the way the news goes. We can't turn on any traits. Unfortunately, it'd be nice to have a bruiser in this shop, and we could throw in an extra bruiser, but we don't. So we'll just throw in an Italy. Just whichever unit we think might do the most damage. Heimerdinger without mages only stuns 1 unit, so not great. Much of a muchness, really, though. And unfortunately, we don't quite have 20 gold. So it is where how much gold you get off creeps can really matter. But there's nothing we can do. At least we're streaking, so we're going to get more and more lose streak gold. And our board is pretty weak at the moment, so it's pretty safe to assume we can lose streak to Krugs. But we might find an open forter, and that something you can't control is if someone else is playing an even worse board. As we get to the last rounds before, you can start checking if anyone has a really weak board of the people that you can fight, and you can try and empty your board as much as possible, but there's only so much you can do sometimes if someone else is completely committed to lose streaking as well. Alright, so we've got first pick of items. We're going to grab a Rod here, because Rod is the item that Vladimir can use 2 of pretty easily. And it completes his first item straight away, which is Archangels, which is his best item. And that's the one. He can have 2 Archangels and be fine. So, easy choice of taking Rod. Nothing else here was particularly exciting. I think there might have been a Silas, but he had a bad item. So, it was easy to pass him up. Not very picky about its augments. It doesn't need anything specifically. It's very happy if you get the mage, extra mage emblem augment. It can make it a lot stronger. We could put that on Varus and get mages on sooner without Silas, but anything really works. Stuff like Luden's Echo is pretty good for dealing more magic damage. We've got a lot of spell casting going on, but it's very flexible. And especially with a grey augment, it doesn't really matter. Like, we're certainly not going to reroll, and we're happy enough with what we got. So we come a little close to winning here, which is a slight concern, but no, we get the loss, and this is a better loss. There's less units alive, we're taking less damage, but don't always have control over that. The main thing is we're stacking up our gold. We're not rolling. We're not refreshing the shop until we get to 50 gold. And we're not going to ever buy XP until we get to 50 gold. And until we level up Vladimir to 3-star. We're still missing our breakpoints on gold, unfortunately. Which is a little bit annoying. But it happens. This is a pretty good shop. We got our Nami. We got an Italy 2-star, which is fine. She'll do a little more damage. Our board is still quite weak. If I was playing at a more advanced level, I would be looking at these people's boards right now. The 3 with the swords are the 3 people that I might fight next round, and I really want to lose. I would especially check this person's board and make sure that I'm losing to it. We do get one of the stronger boards, and it's fine. I think we will lose this. But it would be worth taking more health damage to ensure we kept this loss streak going, because it becomes a lot of gold. It's the interest gold you'll make against Krugs, and it just scales. So if we'd taken a narrow win there, wouldn't have been great. But we do have the loss streak going. But yeah, that's just a tip if you're trying to play at a little more advanced level, is just try to check the 3 people that you're going to be fighting. Either if you're trying to get a loss streak or a win streak. So we get VLAD, which is very good. Very good upgrade. Now, we might need to worry about fighting Krugs in certain times that we're playing this build. If we, for example, just didn't hit anything, or like only had 1-starred units, this could be a little bit scary. And we might even need to spend some gold rolling to try and get some upgrades. For example, to turn on Bruisers, or to 2-star Vladimir, if you only had 2 copies of him, for example. But this spot, I've got 3 2-stars. They'll win comfortably. I just have to position to fight the Krugs one at a time, as I'm doing. But do keep in mind that if you've not spent any gold, you've not seen many Astrals in your shops, you've not built many items, then you might want to roll a couple of times just to make sure you can beat Krugs. But that was an easy spot there. We've lucked into one of our Vladimir items just given to us, which is nice. If that didn't happen though, we could just put a component onto him. We can certainly put armor on him very comfortably. We could also put a cape onto him and at least give him a little more tankiness, but a full item is perfect. We're rolling a little bit while we have the ability to get back to 50 gold to take advantage of being level 4 at the moment, which gives us better odds of hitting 1 costs, i.e. more Vladimirs. If your gold wasn't quite as good, you wouldn't be rolling yet. You'd still be on your way to 50 gold. But my gold was good because I had the full streak. And therefore I got a couple of rolls in. But usually we will be getting to 50 gold as we reach level 5, which is next round. And we'll be rolling then. But we've just got in a little bit earlier. So we're currently playing 4 Astral. It would be nice at this point, and probably a slight mistake I made is not having Lilia, because we would like to have a mage to play now, so that we had 3 mages on, because that really increases Vladimir's utility. So we'll take Luden's Echo here. Weak spot is easy to not take, because that's armor, and we're not dealing that much physical damage. Axiom Arc is also perfectly fine. If we'd gotten more of that, we could play Axiom Arc very easily. But Luden's a little bit better, more damage, kind of this comp tends to want. We're looking for any other mage here, as well as buying our Astrals. Unfortunately, we didn't find one, so we don't have great traits for this round. We don't have Bruiser or Mage turned on, unfortunately. So yeah, if we'd seen any mage there, we'd pick them up and throw them in for now. And then the one we really want is Silas, because we put in Silas and we have Bruiser and Mage turned on. So we'll buy a Silas as soon as we see one, but at level 5, we've only got 20% chance of seeing 3 costs. So we will see one eventually, but it's not guaranteed to be that quick. So in the meantime, just any Bruiser, any Mage, just to try to get more traits turned on. I'm going to show maybe one more round of shopping and then skip ahead a little bit. Because it's pretty simple, right? The plan at the moment is just to keep 50 gold where we can. We will luckily get back to 50 gold because we won. Otherwise it would have been a bit awkward, this spot. But we go back to 50 gold. Keep 50 gold. Dip into 40 if your last shop happens to be really good. It does happen. Don't panic about that. But keeping it 50 gold and just refreshing the shop, buying all the Astrals, and especially Vladimir. And always looking out for Silas. So nice shop, plenty of Astrals. Still no Silas, still no Mage, unfortunately. We do have a Bruiser here. So I'm not sure I will throw it in because Varus is still pretty good. But if we didn't have the Varus spot, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to put it in. Yeah, so we'll go to 2 Bruiser. Yeah, not a huge upgrade over having the Varus, but if we didn't have the Varus, or just in general, we're trying to turn on Bruiser, we're trying to turn on Mage. One at a time until we hit Silas, then we can get both at once. Unfortunately, this guy has 2-star Silas, which is hurting our chances of finding him a little bit, but that can happen. quite a strong board here. I don't think we'll win, but it's okay. Ideally, we'd like to be win streaking here, and in a lower strength game, we would be. This was quite a sharp game in the PBE, so people are going to have pretty strong boards. That's a very strong board for this state, I'm going to say. And also to have 50 gold. I mean, ideally in your games, you'd be streaking at this point. I think we're going to take Rod here, because then we can complete our third Vladimir item. Alternatives, we could easily have taken a tier there and built Shojin, if we didn't have any better options for Vladimir to complete that kind of utility backline item, but finishing off VLAD items is fine as well. So we hit Rise, which is going to turn on Mage for us. That's a bit better than just Bruiser, so easy choice to put him in. Gets our Vladimir double casting. We're going to build our last Vladimir item. So these are close to the perfect items for Vlad, but it's very flexible, the last two. It's only the Archangels that's really important. We found the Silas. Perfect. So now we have Bruiser and Mage turned on, which is where we like to be at level 5. And now we're just going to stay at level 5 and keep rolling until we hit our Vladimir 3-star. We currently have a 2-star on the bench, so we need 3 more copies of Vladimir. Yeah, the fact that we're losing here is quite rough, honestly. I mean, a lot of games, stage 3, you're going to be doing pretty comfortably here, especially at lower ranks. There's a very sharp lobby, and then somebody quit early, which really hurts. It just means that there's one less weak opponent to be fighting, and you're more likely to be matched into the stronger board. So yeah, definitely not ideal, but this is definitely, it's a good example of the play pattern. You can just pretty safely expect to have better results in terms of winning rounds at this stage of the game with this sort of board especially. We can buy the Time Kench and just sell him back for the same price. That's no problem. We'll buy the Alawi. We'll need all 6 Astrals to turn on the 6 Astral buff when we get to level 7. How much you prioritize Alawi can vary quite a bit. If you 2-star her really soon, then you might want to make sure you pick up extra copies. If you get a ton of Skarners, then I wouldn't worry as much about Alawi. I'm just trying to keep 1 copy around to turn on 6 Astrals, but then potentially sell extra copies to make gold. Yeah, definitely depends from game to game. The consistent thing is we're always getting as many Vladimirs as possible. There's other things that are a little bit flexible, and that's where you start learning about adapting the game plan. So we're not making major adaptations, but we have a little subtle ones around the edges, around our extra units, and that kind of is going to teach us the kind of the underlying skills involved in playing TFT, and then we can take those and apply them when we start moving on to like meta builds or trying to play flexibly. If we get a Larry 3-star, she's quite a powerful unit. Just a matter of how much you prioritize her while you still don't have the Vladimir. And while we're struggling on health too. If we were much healthier, it would be fine. We could play much greedier, but we're not that healthy, unfortunately. But we are going to get Vladimir 3-starred at this round, I would say. I would certainly push as much gold as it took. We still get 50, which is nice. So I'm immediately just going to level up after we've hit the Vlad. We don't need to worry about being level 5 as soon as we hit Vlad, because we don't need any more 1 costs. So we can level up straight away. We hit an army 3-star, which is nice as well. 2 swords spot, not really ideal. We would love just a Shojins to put on Nami at this point. But you can't always control what you get. Positioning, probably not ideal there. I probably should have put Vladimir a bit more solo frontline, since he's so strong right now as a 3-star. But it doesn't really matter. So we've spiked. This is the strongest we'll ever be. In an ideal world, we would be a little bit healthier still, and then have more time. But from now on, we're basically going to be bleeding out, which is just our board is getting weaker and weaker, and we're going to start losing again in a few rounds time, hopefully not straight away. I'm going to reroll because none of those are great, but also get mediocre options. It's the last augment choice, so you can feel free to reroll a bit more liberally, but yeah, I don't get great choices. I should have taken Randoms, but I take Gold Collector. It's a little greedy. It's okay though. I mean, I've got Varus 2-star with another item, put that on him. It's okay. Probably prefer more of a utility item there. And then if we get this augment sooner, then we could get an item for Vladimir. Like that health regeneration item would have been fine to put on Vladimir if we didn't already have 3 items. I'm going to flash to level 7 to make sure we get Mage turned on. And now this is pretty much always going to be your level 7 board. Silas is flexible now. We really wanted him at level 5 to turn on Mage and Bruiser. Now we can actually replace him with any other mage, and it's fine, but he is perfectly good too. Because we do have 3 bruisers, as you'll note. So he could be any mage, and we would just be at 2 bruiser and still have it turned on. But he's perfectly fine. If we had like a Rise 2-star, for example, we could put Rise in, but it doesn't matter. Silas perfectly fine. So yeah, we're winning some rounds. We've given up on the 50 gold because it doesn't matter anymore. We're not going to be rolling a lot of gold for big upgrades. We're mostly focused on maintaining our health, getting a little win streak going, and then getting to level 7 so that we can have all of these traits turned on and have Astral 6. So that's where the game plan shifts. So up till Vladimir 3-star, just stay at 50 gold, stay level 5, keep re-rolling. Once we get Vladimir 3-star, the game plan changes dramatically, and it's basically race to level 7. Maybe try to get gold back once you're at level 7, and then get to level 8, and put in something nice for the end game. If you even get there, but sometimes we'll just end at level 7. If we have a really unlucky game, we might even end before we get to Vladimir 3-star, but that shouldn't really be happening. Very often, at least. You know, there's a lot of variance in TFT, and you can get very, very unlucky games. Or maybe 2 other people try to build Vladimir for some reason. But this overall, very consistently that you can get to this spot, where we've got Vladimir 3-star, we've gotten to level 7, we've been doing some re-rolling, we've thought about how to use our items. And yeah, just basically learning the game through repeating this. And you'll see different augments, you'll see different items in different orders. And yeah, you can make some choices about which items you put on Vladimir, which you make into utility items like Shojin and Static Shiv. And even positioning can change a bit. So I'm not scouting during this replay, just because I'm trying to make it look as simple as possible to follow, but you can easily add in some scouting as you get familiar with this. And basically just, at the very least, look at the 3 people that you might be fighting. But you can also scout everybody else that's playing and see what builds that they're doing. If a bunch of them were also playing Astrals, then you might transition into something else. From these items, we can go to build one of the dragons pretty easily. All of the dragons love having a Titan's Resolve. We could look at building Rise, potentially. Rise loves an Archangel Staff and a Shojin's if you built that. Go to Rise. There's quite a number of outs. And if we do get the Mage Spatula, we can always try and go to Aurelian Soul. Get to level 8 quickly. A lot of different ways you can spin this build out. So I'm just staying at level 7 because of my health situation mostly. I don't think I'm ever getting to level 8. So I'm just trying to upgrade my Alawi and my Silas. Just to be a bit more tankiness, a bit more utility. But yeah, I think this is the end of our win streak now. We're in some deep trouble. So this begins the bleeding out section where we're just getting weaker and weaker. Because our Vladimir has already peaked. He's as strong as he ever was. But now we've got stuff like 2-star dragons coming into the game. Like this Siphon did infinity damage that round. So this will happen. You just hopefully you're at a higher HP point when we reach this stage. And in a weaker lobby that you definitely would be. And this would happen later. But yeah, this build doesn't have a high ceiling. It has a very high floor in terms of the worst it can do. Which is the basic idea. Is you'll always get a decent amount into the game. We're 3-starring everything, which is nice. I think I was the only Astrals player in this lobby. It might not always be the case. But the only one that has to be 3-starred is Vladimir. And the rest, it's okay, it's nice if you get them, but it's not necessary. Again, if we're in our healthier spot here, we could be thinking of some more elaborate transitions. Potentially selling Vladimir to go to a dragon carry. But you don't need to worry about that. That's just something you can think about as you get more comfortable with this build. Is you'll see different ways that it can end. Getting a spatula item can particularly give you some direction to go somewhere else, but just for now, this is the build. This is a consistent spot that we want to be hitting. Level 7, Vladimir with 3 items and 3 stars, and then everything else come what may, basically. Hopefully by this Treasure Dragon stage, you'll have Vladimir finished. You should really have 3 items on him, even if they weren't the perfect items. You just need to have 3 items on Vladimir. So at this point, you're basically going to be rolling for utility. This is quite good, but I think I roll past it. I would put a Shojin on Varus from that. It's pretty good. I'd take that too. I think I'll take this one. Because this looks like a Shojin for Nami and a Runins for Varus, which is pretty decent. Yeah. If we could get to level 8 here, we could try and put in another Swift Shot for Varus. would be another option, considering Varus has pretty traditional damage items. I should have put this on Nami, I think. On Alawi is okay as well. Nami probably a little bit better. Alawi 3-star is pretty good. Her spell is pretty potent, so if she can cast her spell more often, it's going to help you out. Probably what put me to put the Shojin on Alawi. Often, Alawi wouldn't be 3-star, but Nami would, and in that case, I definitely put the Shojin on Nami. Zoe is another option at the end game. Like if we had a mage spatula, so we had an extra mage slot, and then we could go to level 8 and put Zoe in, and have 5 mages, could be quite good. I think I am just going to play her as the 3rd mage. Probably not optimal choice there, I would say. Silas, 2 stars. Bit better, but we're just having a look at what Zoe does. This was a PvE game, so not taking it too seriously. And this is all extra stuff, endgame. It's not the focus of the build. Focus of the build was getting to that level 7 board. How you play it out, this is just a learning opportunity, basically, to see different ways that endgames can play out. And it'll vary quite a lot from game to game, what you're doing specifically here. Like Corky. So, I'm going to skip ahead to the end of the game here. So, as you can see, we didn't get many upgrades. We did end up getting a Swift Shot in, so that helps Varus a little bit. Twitch is a little better for the guild buff, giving everything attack speed. Buy an extra Zoe. If we 2-starred Zoe, it'd be nice. Potentially could swap some items onto her, but yeah. I think I'm also just looking for an Aurelian Soul. Without the Mage Spatula item, or Mage Emblem, he's definitely not quite as good. That really puts him over the top. So it's this item that Corky has, is the Mage Hat, Mage Spatula item. That really pushes Aurelian Soul to really strong. But without it, he's fairly mediocre. And Astral's 9, not that important. I'm going to take some losses here. Because, yeah, we're just falling off. This is the bleeding out stage, as I said. So we're going to bleed out for 5th, which in a strong lobby, it's going to happen sometimes. But in more beginner lobbies, lower ranks or normal games, very consistently you can top 4 with this. And secret of climbing in TFT is just getting top 4s all the time. You don't need to win. You don't need first places. Some playstyles you'll get more firsts, but if you can top 4 very consistently, then you'll climb. And the point of this is also that you'll learn the game, basically. See different endgame scenarios, see the different items, see a balance of damage and utility and tanking items. And you can learn some stuff about positioning as well. You can easily move Vladimir around based on how tanky he is at any given time, based on how much frontline damage the opponents have. So yeah, we're losing to a dragon. Yeah, a 3 2-star dragon board. That's going to outscale you at some point. Yeah, ideally it would be in top 4, but top 5. It happens. This was a strong lobby. But basically sums up the build. Let's take another quick look at our kind of endgame build. So, Vladimir 3-starred at level 5. We're going to roll until we get Vladimir 3-star. We're going to have ideally Silas, Alawi, Nami, Nidalee, but some combination where we have 3 Astrals on, we have 3 Mages on, we have 2 Bruisers on. 2 or 3 Bruisers. So we're going to say level 5, roll for Vladimir 3, put Archangels and then 2 of these items onto him. These are great items. All of these are fine. And then we're going to go to level 7 as soon as we've hit Vladimir 3-star, or as soon as our gold allows. And then we're going to add in up to 6 Astrals. Yeah, it's just to go to 6 Astrals while keeping Mages and Bruisers. And then as we get to late game, we can go to level 8. We can throw in some of these higher cost units just to supplement synergies, do some utility things like Bard, be a bit more tankiness, whatever that you need. So that's it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Hope this is helpful to you as a kind of consistent build to be playing as you're starting out learning the game. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe and comment, much appreciated. And you can also check out my Twitch. I'm not going to be playing this build as much as I'm trying to just climb up in the ladder at the moment, but you can see me playing some meta builds, explaining what I'm doing, explaining my decisions. And that can be helpful if you're looking to take the next step after you've played something like this, gotten familiar with the basics, and you want to move on to being a little more flexible and a little bit more meta playstyle. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Enjoy your day.